Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, how one man in Texas combined deer hunting with a porta potty.
Also, are you dreaming of a Denmark fornication?
All that and more on the way next. Now, Allie, did you see this yesterday? Elon Musk back in the news again. In this case, because he and a consortium of investors, I would like to be a part of a consortium of investors one day, made a bid, unsolicited, by the way, $97.4 billion to buy OpenAI, who most people are probably best know for they are the company behind ChatGPT.
Yes. Sorry, were you going to say something else?
Well, they didn't ask for anybody to buy them, but Elon Musk is like, I would love to buy you.
Right. That's the unsolicited part, right?
Yeah,
this is... I mean, it's like, wow, why'd you do this? But also like not shocking at all because I didn't realize this until reading this article. But Elon Musk is one of the founders of OpenAI.
Okay.
And so he's like, I guess, wanting to get back into that game. He was kind of pushed out of the nonprofit because OpenAI is a nonprofit currently. He was pushed out of it in 2019. And apparently the current CEO, Sam Altman, who co-founded this with Elon Musk back in 2015, he is interested in making it for profit. And I guess Musk does not want that to happen at all. He thinks that completely changes the whole vision for why they started OpenAI. So he is trying to gain control back of this company, this non-profit company, to try and make sure that doesn't happen.
When is enough enough? This is my question. When is enough enough for Elon Musk? Why does he have to have everything? And I know it sounds like his intentions are so pure. I want to keep it non-profit. I'm sure you do, Elon, and I'm sure you're the one. You're the only person who can be trusted with this. If they're going to try to make it for profit, we need to trust you. Does this sound like, Allie, imagine this. When like all of the cars, like, you know, when transportation was booming and we finally stopped having to ride everywhere on horseback. But what if Henry Ford was like, I'm going to buy all of the train. I'm going to have a train tracks thing like railroads. I'm going to have my cars, of course. I'm also going to figure out how to invest in plane. And all of a sudden, like Henry Ford, and it's like he doesn't have a monopoly on everything.
Yeah.
But somehow he's invested in every single thing there is. And it's like, in a way, he controls all of it. And I feel like that's what Elon Musk is now.
I mean, that's what a lot of these billionaires do. Let's be real. Like, I mean, what do you think Jeff Bezos is doing? Not investing? He's investing all the time. That's what these huge businessmen do. I mean, why else would they found an AI company? You know, they're investing in all sorts of new technology. That's what Elon Musk is known for, technology. And so I'm not shocked to see that he wants to be on the forefront of AI. I think we all acknowledge that ChatGPT was kind of the first breaking out of AI, at least for the everyday person. You know, it's now so heavily involved in our lives, but ChatGPT really was the start of that. So I'm not shocked to see that he wants to get back into the game with this.
Yeah, no.
Not saying that it is a good thing, but I'm not shocked by it.
Yeah, no. I mean, of course, it's one of the very cutting edge of AI technology, which is not going to go away. But he also has his own, like, what's Grok then?
I don't know. Does he own Grok?
Yeah, it's like the Twitter AI thing. I'm sure it's not as good as OpenAI. I really don't think it is, but it doesn't stop them from pushing it on you if you open up the Twitter X app.
I've never heard of someone grokking something or whatever. So yeah, I don't know how much that's getting used. I for whatever reason thought Grok was involved with like Microsoft or something. It's like built into computers, but I don't know.
It's built into Twitter.
To Twitter, okay, to X. Yeah,
people were asking a question, but. Either way, it's like, yes, you're a billionaire, you're very rich, and for any person being able to invest in a bunch of different industries, but to be able to have controlling stakes in like the companies that are leading the world in all of them, again, even if because obviously we wouldn't want a monopoly in some, like where we have laws against that.
Right.
But if they're all different industries, but that's still a monopoly to me, and we don't really have anything to control that. So I'm just suspicious. I just want to I'm pretty sure I'm the only person saying this, that Elon Musk, we got to keep an eye on this guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're the only person saying that right now.
And we got to watch out for him. And
because
all
of AI.
Yes.
There is some news about California. And I think it's different than what you might expect.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of us have obviously seen, the wildfires going on and the different things that have been happening in California. But we just recently saw out of Denmark that there's this new bid going on to actually buy California.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is a apparent retaliation because of Trump's comments about potentially buying Greenland.
Yeah.
And so,
which is, of course, owned by Denmark. And so there's a new campaign, a new bid in Denmark to raise $1 trillion to purchase California, which they would plan to instill it with Danish values and make the most of the sunny weather and resources, according to this website, which is called Denmarkification. So they would call it New Denmark, and they would turn Disneyland into Hans Christian Andersen land. Oh, that's my favorite part. That is my favorite part. They're really sticking it to Disney. Going, your Moana's is nice now, but back in the day, besides Mickey Mouse, Walt Disney was totally just ripping off. I mean, not even ripping off. He was just like, oh, there's this stuff that I can use. Hans Christian Andersen, let me animate it.
Yep.
And made a fortune off of that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, what does Hans Christian Andersen have to show for it? Coming up with these timeless stories.
Yeah.
Nothing,
unfortunately.
Nothing that I know of.
Yeah, nothing, unfortunately. So, we'll have to turn, Cinderella to Thumbelina and, and all of that loveliness if this actually does end up happening. Obviously, it's more of a joke than anything else.
Yeah.
I doubt that they'll be able to crowdfund $1 trillion.
Who even is doing this? Is I know it's Denmark, but is it their is it their president or whatever?
It's not
just
their
random
government.
people
It's just random people, that have started this campaign. Apparently, some of the people involved, though, actually are the owners of Lego, because Lego is a Denmark company.
Yeah.
Or Danish company. So apparently Lego is on board with this happening.
Yeah. And you know what? Lego, they might not have $1 trillion, but they got to darn sure be close to it from the prices that I've been paying for my bricks. Come on. By the way, $1 trillion, I was looking it up. Because that sounds like a lot of money. It would be 1/34 of our U.S. debt right now. So, hey, that could really put a dent in it.
Yeah.
If they want to take California if they can raise the money. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people will be like, yeah, Americans everywhere else will be like, yeah, you can have California. But it does show the ridiculousness of of course, our president's saying this, and it'd be great to have Greenland. I think it'd be cool. I think we could do some cool stuff.
I mean, it'd be a 5-hour flight from New Jersey.
We could do some cool vacations. I'm sure there's some cool military outpost stuff. That'd probably be nice to strategery. But it's not like Denmark was like, hey, anybody want Greenland?
Right.
We'll cut you a good deal. He's just saying that hey, it'd be nice to buy Greenland. And they're like, but we don't want to sell it really.
Yeah.
But for the right price, maybe anybody would sell anything. And so maybe for the United States, for the right price, California.
I don't know if that will actually end up, as far as the Greenland thing, if that will actually ever end up happening. Yeah. But yeah, I just think this is hilarious that this is well, you want to buy Greenland? We want to buy California.
Yeah, we'll show you. Right. I like this back and forth. I like that the Danes are standing up for themselves too. Don't get pushed around over there.
I think they got a good sense of humor.
You stand your ground and you can keep Greenland. We'll let you keep it. We'll let you have it.
All right, you keep it.
Allie, we talked about this maybe a week or two ago. You said you weren't concerned. The asteroid that's currently hurtling towards Earth. I'd like to see if your attitude has changed, because in the time since we last talked about it, when we last addressed this, asteroid 2024 YR4 had a 1.3% chance of colliding with Earth in 2032. Mm-hmm. Now, in just a couple weeks' time, those odds have basically doubled. We're up to a 2.2% chance, aka a 1 in 45 chance that this asteroid is on a collision course with Earth in 2032. We've got 7 years to live, 1 out of 45 times. Also, if these odds keep continuing on this trajectory, then we'll be at 100% in like a couple months.
In a couple months, I don't know about that. Also, it's not hurtling towards Earth right now. It's going in the opposite direction, and it eventually will come back towards Earth.
It eventually is hurtling towards Earth.
Yes, but that just shows you how much it's like confusing to really like look at this and be like, yep, this is what's going to happen or whatever, because the data is very preliminary, and that's why I didn't panic the first time when we talked about this, because we don't know what will happen, and we assume that the data will continue to get better and better as the time gets closer to 2032 to a potential collision. And so right now we just don't know. So I don't really know how they're getting this 2.2%. I'm not sure how they're calculating that. It's the NASA Center for Near Earth Object Studies that does this.
Well, they don't mess up.
Sure.
They're trustworthy.
Sure.
Our greatest scientists are there.
Yeah. No, I believe that they're great scientists. I just don't know how I don't think they would even say they can be
You're
sure
right.
about this.
They could be underestimating it. So we better start preparing. Listen, I've told you this, I'm afraid of space, because in space, that's one of the two places you can be lost and really never be found. There's no hope for you. Think about our the Boeing astronauts right now.
They're not lost. They're on
lost.
the International Space Station.
They are. We still can't get them. We still can't get them. They've been stuck there for like a year. And we know exactly where they are. So I'm afraid of it. But I'm going to have to become an astronaut, because I'm going to have to go to the moon by 2032, because I feel like there's a less than 2.2% chance of me dying on the way to the moon. I like my odds better there than here.
I mean, I don't know about that. I feel like the risk factors are a little higher with space travel.
I'm trying to get ahead of the game. By the time everybody else realizes, by the time these odds continue to double week after week, it'll be too late. So we got to get on this now. We got to figure out how to charter an Elon Musk, SpaceX, whatever, to the moon.
Yeah, and you'll get stranded up there just like the Boeing astronauts. But here's what you need to know, Hudson. If history repeats itself, these odds will continue to decrease as time continues on.
They haven't continued. They've continued to increase.
They will decrease.
We can't be sure.
I mean, that's absolutely true. We cannot be sure. And I don't think you can also be sure that you need to be heading out of here by 2032.
But by the time I am sure, it'll be too late. Right now, I've got a 98% chance that I'm going to be okay.
You're a 98% chance you're fine.
But normally I have a 100% chance, so I don't like these odds. We have here the new Oreo Post Malone collaboration. Looking at the packaging, it does say that it's Postie's swirled salted caramel and shortbread flavor cream. And then it has like a chocolate top and a golden Oreo bottom, or vice versa, depending how you flip it. The packaging, it looks, it appears to be guitar picks, right?
Yeah, guitar picks, but almost looks like dragon scales or something.
Thinking.
Yeah.
It's like Godzilla skin from a distance.
Yeah.
But these should be. I have high hopes for these. I said before, I had these already like ready to go for us. I had them at my house. People came over the Super Bowl, started eating a bunch of them. They all seem to like them. Fortunately, there's a few left. So
good.
I'm anxious to try these. So I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you go
hesitate.
first. Oh, you're eating it like that?
I have two.
Okay.
Because you gotta try it both ways.
That's true.
We screwed up. We don't have milk.
Oh no! Yeah, we should have thought of that.
I mean, it's good.
Okay.
This is a good Oreo.
You like it? I feel like there's no real way to mess up an Oreo, right? You would hope.
I mean, some are worse than others, but
yeah. But you would hope there.
I don't know if this is better than an average Oreo. It might be.
don't think you can get much better than like regular double stuff.
When you just have it the way, like as a sandwich, it's subtle, the flavor of the cream. Like you taste the caramel, but it's not really too much. It's not too intense of a flavor. But like I said, I do have 2 because I have to do the pull apart test.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which, by the way, a very clean pull apart.
Yeah.
And I probably can just slide this right off here. How does this cream taste on its own? Well, what do you think, Allie? You just ate it. Did you eat it the way
I ate it like like a cookie sandwich instead of what I normally do, which is pull it apart. Mm-hmm. And then I lick it.
Yeah, you got to get it clean. I do the same thing. Now you deconstruct it, and then normally if I had Oreos, I would have a cup of milk, and I dip the cookie part in the milk.
Yes.
But eat the cream separately. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Man.
I really like this. I like the salted aspect of it.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's nice.
It's kind of a really good combo.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this for sure. I was worried it would be like, the salt makes you think it wouldn't be too sweet, but I was worried that it was going to be like super duper sweet compared to regular Oreos, and I wouldn't like it, but I actually really do love this. But like I said, I don't really think you can mess up an Oreo that much.
Yeah, but can you improve an Oreo?
I don't think this improves the Oreos. I still love the traditional Oreos, and, double stuff is where it's at. That's what I go for most of the time. But, I don't think there's any improvement here. It's just a very good Oreo.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It is really good, and I can only imagine how good it would be if we had milk with it.
Yeah, that's true.
I really think doing the dip test with this, I think it would pass with flying colors.
It would. Man, I'm sad we didn't even think of that.
It seems that Post Malone knows his way around an Oreo factory.
I think so. I think it's safe to say he's a fan of the Oreo.
He's a creator in many ways. Maybe he should get out of the music game and become like a chef or a baker. Based off of this, I think he has it in him.
He might be able to do it.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like if they let me run rampant around the Oreo factory, I feel like I could come up with something pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we shouldn't give him too much credit. Allie, how much do you know about deer hunting?
Not really anything.
Yeah. Okay. Me neither. We won't be able to add a lot of expertise.
No.
But even not being experts at all, I know that you're not supposed to do this.
Yes.
You're not supposed to, first of all, go on someone else's property without permission.
Yep.
Secondly, on their property, convert a porta potty into a deer blind so that you can hunt deer. Although that is a genius move, I think that's a good idea, but just not on someone else's property. And so the Texas game wardens just tracked down a guy who they had been trying to catch since last deer hunting season.
Yep.
For hunting on somebody else's property, and he, of course, returned. I guess he had set up this porta potty deer blind the previous hunting season.
Yeah,
and they never caught him in the act.
Right.
And so at the beginning of deer season, they were keeping an eye on this.
Yep.
And then, of course, if the criminal returns to the scene of the crime, he's back there hunting again, and so he basically just admitted, I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
He got charged and whatever.
Yeah, he admitted that this wasn't his property. He did not have permission to be on it. And so he took his charge and took his porta potty and went home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an interesting story to me. It's like, okay, ingenuity, if you will, on the hunting blind part. I wouldn't choose to do this, but I'm not a hunter, so maybe I'm the wrong person to judge this.
I feel like as a hunter, this is a genius move. Don't you think? Because first of all, when you're hunting, what do you have to do? You have to cover yourself in deer urine, right? I mean, that's part of the game. That's part of the game. I know that much.
Again, I do not know how far you're going there.
You gotta spray yourself with this. You got to give yourself a spritz of deer urine.
Okay.
And so you're already covered in urine anyways. Might as well sit in a porta potty. But then at least you have a place to go to the bathroom while you're hunting. And if you're inside that because he had like a hole that he had cut out.
Yep.
So he could peer out and have a clear shot. I guess it would really reduce your range of visibility. So that'd be a negative. But But the positive is he'd be shielded from the elements too. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot to like about this, and I think there's some ideas that could be taken for other hunters. I don't know.
Yeah. Soon enough, Bass Pro Shop will be selling these. They'll be selling little pop-up porta potty hunting blinds. I mean, I can't see it actually, but yeah, this is just crazy to me. My favorite part of the story, though, is that what the game wardens had to do to catch this guy was set up a trail cam for him.
Oh, I thought they might have to camp out in like ghillie suits. That'd be funny. We're just gonna hide by the porta potty.
That would have been even better. No, they set up like a trail cam, and when they finally came back to the hunting blind, they got him.
Wow, that is good on them. That they were able to catch him. I guess they also could have just waited until some truck had to come empty the porta potty too.
Oh,
or did he not have that set up?
I don't think he had.
I guess if he's just the only guy using it, it probably would take a while to fill up. So.
It's not made clear if he was using it in that way or not, but it wasn't like a big blue thing that what you picture in your head when you think of a porta potty. Mm-hmm. He had like spray painted it to make it look camouflage or whatever.
Well, yeah, the deer can spot a porta potty from a mile away.
You would think, yes. If it's bright and blue, it would not really blend in very well with the rest of the foliage. Yeah, the rest of the woods.
Dylan says you don't spray yourself with urine. You take the urine from a doe in heat and put it on a cotton ball that hangs on a tree. Oh. Well, then I did something wrong. Dylan, I did something
Is that what you did when you went hunting?
We're going to need a verdict on this one at 8772 Radio U. This You Be the Judge case takes us to the UK, where a couple recently bought what can only be described as a mansion for about what equals to nearly 40 million US dollars. However, after purchasing the mansion and starting to invade the property themselves, that's a weird way to put it, they decided that they no longer wanted this mansion and they wanted their money back. Why? Because once they arrived, they found that the mansion was home to what they call a severe moth infestation. They claim that the person who sold them the mansion made fraudulent misrepresentations when he claimed he did not know of any vermin infestation or any other hidden defect in the property. But when they arrived, they found moths all over the place, including in wine glasses, in their clothes, on toothbrushes. And they say, obviously, a lot of that stuff had to be thrown away because it was ruined by the moths.
Ooh.
Should they get their 32 million pounds, aka almost $40 million back after they claim that this guy didn't tell them that there was moths on the property? 8772 Radio U.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah, because here's the information I want to know. How many times had they been to the property before they actually bought it and agreed to this?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out as well. I don't know if this is the same way in the UK, but I know in the United States, you can obviously have your house inspected. If you're planning on buying a new house, you can inspect it, and the inspector will let you know of potential, problems like a moth infestation or any type of infestation if they run across something like that. So that's kind of an extra, safety net for you as a buyer, potential home buyer. I don't know if they went through that process. I don't know if that even happens in the UK. So I'm assuming they have home inspectors, but I'm not sure.
8772 Radio U. You be the judge. Should this couple be awarded their money back after they bought a mansion and then later found that there was moths there that the previous owner may or may not have known about? Some verdicts are coming in. Regina says, definitely not cool, but unless it was long enough after the inspection and or they didn't visit it in advance, I don't think they have a case. But she said, shouldn't they have had an inspector look at the house?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it seems, I don't know if the rules are different in the UK, but if the rules are that you don't have to have the house inspected by some neutral party or whatever beforehand, then if you're spending $40 million, you should know well enough to do that.
That there's risk involved, which is the same here in the United States. I believe you can waive it if you don't want to get the house inspected when you're buying a house here. But at that point, you're putting yourself at risk of not seeing something that an inspector would catch.
Aurora says this one is on them. I think they shouldn't have skipped the home inspection.
Yep.
There's no mention of a home inspection, and you would think they would have caught that.
Right.
We also heard from Chris, who really starts to hit on what kind of my feelings here. Chris says, if they can afford a $40 million house, they can go to Harbor Freight and buy some $70 bug zappers. And Lindsay says, I think they need to call in an exterminator.
Yes.
Which I feel like if you put this case in front of like Judge Judy, right? Not that she's the be all end all, but she'd be like, so what? She'd bang her gavel. She'd be like, the guy that sold the house, you pay for their. I think I'm gonna do a horrible Judge Judy impression. He pays for them to get it, to get the house exterminated, fumigated. Like, how much could that possibly cost?
Right.
But apparently it sounds like they moved out afterwards.
Okay.
And by the way, they got most of their money back.
Oh my goodness. You gotta be kidding.
Yeah. William says, how do we know they didn't bring the moths themselves?
Ooh.
So there is reports that even though there's no mention of an inspection, there's reports that the guy that sold them the house had exterminators come, and there was at least 2 instances where it had them come. But I guess if they were exterminators, you would think that would have dealt with the problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something you have to disclose in the house history every time an exterminator comes.
I'm not sure about that, but hopefully they're able to figure out, because I mean, it looks like a beautiful house, so hopefully they're able to exterminate and sell it in the future. But that's wild to me that they got their money back for this.
I understand why they maybe should get something, but I struggle to think why they should just be able to move out and get all of their money back, except for they minus the time they lived there.
Yeah.
But the guy also has to pay for all the exterminating expenses that they had to pay and all of the stuff that was ruined.
Yeah.
Which that part seems fair.
Yeah.
The other $30 million, I don't know.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Now, last night, Ali, I don't know if you stayed up for this, but Luka Doncic made his debut for the Los Angeles Lakers. It resulted in a resounding victory over the Utah Jazz, even though Luka only played, I think, 23 minutes.
Okay.
As he returned from a calf injury that he suffered on Christmas Day.
Yep.
But nevertheless, quite a juxtaposition for him coming back and the Lakers winning big time in his first game versus the Mavericks in Anthony Davis's first game. They did win, and he had a good game until, of course, he got injured.
Yes, he got injured.
Who could have seen that coming?
Right, literally. I mean, it just seems to be what defines AD's career is just injury, which is awful because he is a great player. But yeah, unfortunately, not shocked by that result.
Yeah, what's crazy is that I think if you're the Mavericks, you're banking on, when you are making this trade, winning it in the short term, as in if we have Anthony Davis and Kyrie, at least we can be competitive, and maybe we add another piece somewhere along the line, and all of a sudden maybe we're in the finals again.
Yeah.
Like we just were last year with Luka. Even if Luka eventually he becomes the face of the franchise for the Lakers and they wind up having a lot of success. Hopefully we'll have success first in the short term. Is right where you were banking on?
I mean, I don't know what they can bank on in this scenario. I just feel like they absolutely got fleeced with this trade. It's the dumbest trade I've ever seen in the NBA.
Yeah.
It really is.
It makes no sense. But, I think I don't even think any Mavericks fans are thinking about this because I don't think they've been very optimistic about the situation. No. But if you're in the organization, your optimistic take was Anthony Davis is still really good.
Yes,
and
for
so
sure.
At least at first, when Luka's out of shape and the Lakers don't have anybody to play defense, so they're going to lose in the first round or two of the playoffs, and we maybe can put something together, we'll look better for now, and then people will forget. But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. We don't know how long Anthony Davis is going to be out for. But, it's too soon to judge. The Lakers are playing one of the worst teams in the league, the Jazz.
Yes.
But just not a great start for the Mavericks after this trade. You might have hoped that that maybe Luka would kind of not play much and maybe the Lakers would struggle or whatever. But no, it's just they look flashy and good right off the jump.
Yeah, they do. And I don't think anybody's shocked by that. Luka's a top 5 player in the NBA, and you just added him to a LeBron squad. No one's shocked by them looking, better. If you add a top 5 player, you're going to get better. So, I think we all worried about, is it going to click? And we'll see over time. Like you said, the Utah Jazz is kind of hard to judge him against the Jazz, but we'll see how it all comes together down the stretch. But I'm not shocked to see that they, put it together for the first time. They look like they were having fun. That's what basketball's about, having fun.
Yeah, I think it's too soon to judge, but when you have one game each and there's such a juxtaposition that seems to highlight, it just seems to highlight exactly what you expect. You expect Luka, he may be, maybe he's out of shape, maybe he's not always fully bought in, but hey, he's still pretty fun to have around, even if he's not. And then AD, he may be great, but he's going to wind up missing as much as he plays. And especially in critical moments, and that's already, we've seen that in one game in for each. That's what we've seen.
It's way too on the nose. It's kind of crazy that it came to fruition that quickly to be like, yep, this is why this trade was dumb.
Now, this is controversial, but some schools across the country, more than a dozen dozens of schools in 20 different states across the United States have decided to ban students from wearing Crocs to class. Now, you may be thinking, why? Well, it's because they look stupid, of course. No, I'm just kidding. The schools, in many cases, are citing safety concerns. Apparently, those students that wear Crocs are more likely to slip and fall when they do emergency drills. And so the administrators believe that the Crocs would be more unsafe if there were an actual emergency situation. Therefore, they decided to ban Crocs preemptively, just in case there ever is an emergency, so the students, wouldn't trip and fall and meet at some kind of demise. That's the reasoning that they've come up with.
Okay, I feel like I have seen plenty of people in Crocs before, and I've never felt that they look like they're walking in a way where I'm like,
to keep their balance.
I'm like, wow, those are really unsafe,
Would they be easier to push down or anything like that?
Right. I don't know. I once saw my, 14-year-old little cousin play a softball game in his Crocs.
No way.
And he didn't even have them in sports mode.
Whoa.
So I don't know if I really buy this, that it's a huge safety risk. Now, I do know that Disney World did ban Crocs from certain on the escalators. They banned them because there were so many incidents. And so I feel like there are probably some areas where Crocs could get a little, dangerous. And escalators seems like one of them.
But most schools don't have escalators.
No. And so I feel like the safety hazards of what they're talking about at these schools, it doesn't really add up as much compared to Disney World with the escalator problem.
To be fair, I don't even know if this is being fair, but the schools claim that, and obviously, again, this is dozens of schools across the country in different states, so it's not like they're all speaking as one.
Right.
But the general thing is that they say the students often don't wear them in sports mode, and so that makes them more likely to trip and fall. But I don't know. I feel like I call shenanigans on this too, because I feel like who are some of the top proponents of Crocs is nurses, right? They're so comfortable and I can wear them all day. And if you're a nurse, you don't want to be slipping and sliding.
Yeah.
And they wear them. And so if it's good enough for nurses, is it not good enough for students at school?
Yeah, I feel like it's got a pretty decent grip, and so I don't know about the whole slipping and sliding thing. I don't know if I believe that.
I know a lot of people that I used to work with at restaurants too, that they would be wearing Crocs to restaurants where the floor is slippery, there's stuff that's spilled on it, and there's wet floors, the people mop it, whatever. And I just feel like they just don't like Crocs. I feel like the students are being attacked.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably more of because it's a trend, they're going after it. And I think the real reason they do actually state here is that they say it is a distraction for students because they play with the little collectible charms that you can put on the top. And this part kills me. They throw their shoes at classmates. But to me, I'm like, that means you want to keep Crocs because those are the only shoes you could throw at people and not injure someone.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if somebody pulls off a Timberland boot and starts throwing that instead, yeah, they'd have great traction in an emergency situation, but also that would hurt if somebody winged that at your head.
Right. It's like if your problem is that kids are throwing shoes in class, I think your problem is bigger than Crocs.
Maybe just ban throwing shoes
right.
instead of shoes in general. Let's see. Corey says, I'm all for banning Crocs. Aurora says, I can confirm they are slippery when it's wet, but it shouldn't be wet in the school.
Here's the thing is I don't wear Crocs, so I guess I'm not a fair judge on if they actually are dangerous.
Yeah. Aurora says, I certainly almost slipped a few times when it's wet out and I am wearing Crocs, but that can also happen in almost any shoes.
Yeah.
And Dee says, most nurses or kitchen people wear the professional Crocs, which have a different non-slip grip on them than what the kids are wearing these days.
These kids these days, they don't have the professional Crocs.
They're amateur Crocs. I don't know. I feel like this is, of all the things, like, I just think that, let the kids have their fun.
Yeah, let them have their fun, but I will say, I don't think they look that great.
No, yeah, let them have their stupid shoes. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, Allie, but there's a beef in the prebiotic soda space right now. Two of the preeminent brands in the burgeoning industry, Poppi and Olipop, are going head to head. Of course, this is obviously a industry that's kind of growing and getting bigger. Yep. And these are two of the big brands, so they're already at each other's throats anyways. They're competitors.
Right.
But things have hit another level recently because Poppi pulled this stunt ahead of the Super Bowl where they sent Poppi vending machines to 32 influencers on TikTok. Now that, maybe that kind of seems like a fun stunt, but it's taken a turn for some in the comments of the influencers that have been posting out about this because a vending machine is expensive.
Right.
And you're sending it to 32 individuals. And so this animosity is being fueled by Olipop, who hopped in the comments on all these videos to say, this vending machine costs $25,000, and you start doing the math, and that means that Poppi spent nearly $1 million to send all of these vending machines to a bunch of influencers.
Yeah.
When they could have spent that money on anything.
They could have spent it literally on anything. One of the comments I really like, which was said, why didn't you do any constructive with these? Why didn't you send it to like a college campus?
Yeah.
Or a more high trafficked area where not only you're getting the publicity of a lot of different people posting it, but maybe you could have paid an influencer to go out there and say, look what I found.
Yeah.
Here's a Poppi vending machine and it's here, So it does seem like a total miss on as far as wanting to gain publicity. It's like, why would you send it to one person?
An odd use of money, to say the least. And so here comes Olipop, who's trying to take advantage of the situation by egging on people in the comments going, yeah, they spent $25,000 just to give this to one person.
Yeah.
And kind of going further from there on many of the posts.
Right.
So you've got a little beef going back and forth. Who knew that prebiotic soda could be such a competitive industry?
Right. I mean, the soda industry is very competitive, so this just seems like a mini version of like Pepsi versus Coca-Cola or something like that. But yeah, Olipop is not missing any of these opportunities to come out here swinging on these posts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm all for it. I don't drink any of these things, so I'm eating my popcorn and enjoying the drama.
Yeah. I kind of feel, I don't know what the right analogy is, but like, if you swing a golf, like Poppi swung a golf club thinking they were going to do a big drive and it somehow smacked them in their, like it bounced off a tree and hit them in the face. Because now Olipop is the one that seems to get the positive publicity out of this.
Yeah. Now they're getting the ones and they didn't have to spend any money on it.
Oh, yeah. Just the social media person that's just like, hey, just egg on the people in the comments that are angry.
It's the classic Wendy's on Twitter strategy.
Yeah.
Just go after everyone with some savage comments, and it typically works.
Just troll TikTok.
Yeah.
And you'll get your name out there, and it's working for Olipop. Radio U, where music is going, 8772 Radio U. Everyone, welcome back to the show. Our friend, our relationship expert, that is Sheena, joining us. Good morning, Sheena. How are we doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be back.
Yes, it's good to have you. And what a perfect time to have a relationship coach and a relationship expert on the show with Valentine's Day just a few days away.
Yeah.
So, Sheena, we have some Valentine's related questions that we have for you that hopefully will help somebody out there have a successful Valentine's Day. First of all, to me, I feel like when you're celebrating Valentine's Day as a couple, especially as a guy, there's a lot of pressure, right, to get like the right gifts and whatever. But also, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to like show off a little bit, like so that the gal can, so that everybody at her job or on social media gets to see how much her boyfriend or husband loves her too. How do you weigh that when you approach Valentine's Day?
I totally agree with your sentiment. And I think the first thing to do is think about those couples that are on social media that always post the most amazing pictures and present their relationship as perfect and happy. But let's be real. We know that isn't the case. They're really showing that highlight reel and not the full story. So when we think about that, it's just not believable. And trying to compete with that just doesn't make sense. So when we're thinking about how do I get that perfect gift and how do I showcase this, what's going to help you stand out is being genuine, getting something that's meaningful to your partner. So I saw this really funny thing on Instagram the other day. It was a heart-shaped Valentine's Day box where normally you'd find chocolate. And instead, there are these really saucy chicken wings with ranch in the middle of it.
Yes.
And I immediately loved it and sent it to a bunch of my friends that I knew would love it too. And they were like, yeah, I would definitely prefer to have that over chocolate. So I think that just highlights, not only did that stand out on social media, but they said, I would love to have this. Valentine's Day is about love. If you love chicken wings, that's what you should be getting for Valentine's Day. So I think by finding something that's meaningful and stands out from what we would typically see, it's a win-win.
There we go. I did this one year, Allie, with Little Caesar's Crazy Bread.
For Mrs. Hudson?
Yeah, and I'm still married, so it worked.
Hey.
So it worked.
Now, what about Valentine's Day? There's a lot of pressure for people that are single too, and I am curious because I don't know. It's hard to even think to my time as being single. But do you think that a Valentine's Day is like the best time of year to shoot your shot with somebody? Or should you actually avoid it altogether?
That's a really good question because it could easily go either way. I think just in this day and age, there's a lot of pressure to be in a relationship in general, but that pressure really intensifies over Valentine's Day. So I think for those that are really feeling that pressure, it could be easier to say yes to a date than normal. But also, on the other hand, a lot of people are saying, like, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It's not that meaningful to me because I think it's become very commercialized and love equals gifts. So I think that, shooting your shot on Valentine's Day does run the risk of coming off as a little cheesy or insincere. So it could really go either way depending on how the person feels. But my personal advice tends to lean towards shoot your shot. If you're feeling inspired, go for it. Practice is only going to help you. And honestly, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out the way we thought. But what's important is how you're shooting your shot if you decide that you're going to do it. Get creative about it. Make it fun. Make it easy to say yes by being playful. So I have a fun example. Do you guys want to hear it?
Of course.
Okay. So everyone's going crazy about Valentine's Day. I'm thinking about rebelling with a little mini golf. You want to join the rebellion?
There we go.
Nice.
So something that's silly, right? Like you would have to laugh at that, even if it was a little cheesy. And that gives you like a fun way to kind of start that conversation. But also, if it really does go wrong, you can just play it off as a joke.
Right.
It's very easy.
I like that escape hack.
Yeah, we need that little escape plan so that there's some some backup there. Well, speaking of like a more non-traditional way of, celebrating Valentine's Day, as you said, some people don't even want to celebrate Valentine's Day with how commercial it has become. So for you, what would you think is a good, meaningful, but also non-traditional way to celebrate Valentine's Day?
I love that you asked me that question, because what I've been doing recently as a coach is helping people discover, how do we celebrate big days that traditionally we might not enjoy so much. So thinking about like birthdays, holidays, weddings, and really making like personal tradition. How do we make this meaningful again and not just doing what we've always done just because we don't know what else to do? And the process that we do to kind of discover what that means for somebody is looking at the origins of that day. Like, where do these traditions come from in the first place? So I started doing a little research on Valentine's Day, and I found the legends of the Christian martyr, Saint Valentine. And he was known for defying the emperor and his bans of marriages for soldiers. So what he would do is have secret weddings for soldiers so that way they could be married and have love. And unfortunately, St. Valentine was caught, imprisoned, and on February 14th, he was executed. But that's why we celebrate on February 14th in honor of this man who really, honored love and marriage.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
Right. So, that's how important love is, that we would go that far. Mm-hmm. And there was another fun little fact that while he was in prison, he actually slipped out his own love letter and he signed it, "Your Valentine." Oh. So over time, sending love letters that were called Valentines became very popular. So getting back to your question, I think that a really great way to celebrate Valentine's Day would be to go back to that origin of writing handwritten letters. I don't know about you guys, when I get my mail and I see a handwritten letter, that's the first one I'm opening. It's so special with everything being so digital. So a creative way of doing this is to create a scavenger hunt. So I've actually done this and it was really fun. So writing handwritten letters and kind of hiding them all around the house and leading clues to that ultimate Valentine's Day gift if you're a couple. And it's so much fun. You can really, infuse that love and expression of how you feel about your partner in those letters that are handwritten. And getting to that big gift. So, let's kind of skip the flowers and the jewelry. Let's do an experience, right? We could go to a comedy show, go to a cooking class, roller skating, whatever it is that you guys enjoy, or maybe something you've never tried before. Make it memorable, meaningful, something you're looking forward to. And I know there's homebodies out there who are like, I don't really want to go out. That's fine too. Play a board game, build a model. I know that's what my partner and I do. We build Transformer models together and we love it. And there's lots of options. So Valentine's Day is about love. There's more than just romantic love. So I've seen a lot of Galentine and Palentine Day events where you can go out with other singles, have some fun. Or, the best kind of love, in my opinion, is self-love. So if you want to have a spa day to yourself and celebrate love, at home doing your thing, that's okay too. But I think the best way to celebrate Valentine's Day is celebrating love and whatever that means to you.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. Sheena, thanks for coming in and giving us some Valentine's advice. If you ever need any more info, Sheena is at wellness360coach.com/Sheena-Hansel. And you can find out more about her there. Thanks, Sheena, for helping us out today.
Thanks for having me. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day. It's RadioU. So over the weekend, I'll tell you who was feeling a jolt. A monkey in Sri Lanka. That's a small island nation. It does have 22 million people, but it's still an island nation in the Indian Ocean. A monkey, they believe, caused the entire country to lose power over the weekend.
Oh my goodness.
All 22 million people without power. And it wasn't because of a storm or anything like that, a heat wave. It was because a monkey got in where it shouldn't be. And at least that's what they're blaming it on at this time. That's what the country's energy minister believes is the culprit.
Man, yeah, this blackout happened as the temperature in the country reached 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
So there is somewhat of a heat wave, but that's not what caused the blackout.
No. That's not what caused it, but it's just terrible timing on the monkey's part. How does that... It baffles me, and I'm sure maybe people in other countries think about the United States, and they think, you're a country that has, like, rattlesnakes and alligators. I don't know how you do it. But I think about countries like Sri Lanka that just have monkeys running wild. And I think, how do they do it? I feel like it's hard to
fathom how you prepare all the different things you need to prepare to keep monkeys from wreaking havoc on your infrastructure and just like ruining people's days.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I grew up in Africa. There's plenty of monkeys in Africa that do all sorts of crazy things and get into stuff. I mean, there was plenty of times where baboons or monkeys tried to steal food or, tried to get into your car or something silly like that. I remember one time we were walking out of a border crossing office in between the countries of Zimbabwe and Zambia, and my brother was carrying a bottle of Coca-Cola, and a baboon came up and stole the Coca-Cola from his hand.
Wow.
But instead of drinking it from the bottle, he poured it onto the floor and then drank it from the ground. So monkeys, they could get a little crazy.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, it's difficult enough if you're just out and about to deal with like seagulls that are a little too aggressive, Yeah. But that's nothing like a monkey.
No.
And so I just don't know how I just honestly feel like once a week, if you lived in a city that had monkeys, they would ruin your day somehow.
Yeah,
They just come up and steal your food or mess with your hair or something. And then you're just feeling down the rest of the day.
I know, at least in Zambia, in tourist areas where baboons have become a problem, what they do is they have just different, park rangers or, people that are hired on that will carry slingshots.
Oh, really?
And they will use little pebbles to, deter the baboons from coming around. Doesn't always work, but that's one of the ways they try and handle it.
That sounds fun, but also I know if it was me, I'd accidentally hit people and they'd take my slingshot away.
Yeah.
But even that, a monkey messing with your hair or stealing your Coke bottle is nothing compared to knocking out power for 22 million people.
It's crazy.
Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.